Look, I used to be terrible with people. I mean, genuinely bad. I'd argue about everything, correct people constantly, and wonder why nobody wanted to be around me. Then I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And honestly, it felt like someone had handed me a manual for human beings. If you struggle with relationships, if people don't seem to listen to you, or if you want to become more influential, you need to understand the principles I'm covering today. Here's your first lesson. Criticism doesn't work. When you criticize someone, you're not helping them improve. You're putting them on the defensive. They'll spend their energy justifying their actions instead of changing their behavior. Think about the last time someone criticized you. Did you immediately agree and thank them? Probably not. You likely felt attacked and started defending yourself. That's exactly what happens when you criticize others. Instead, focus on what does work. Positive reinforcement. When you want someone to change, reward the behavior you want to see. People respond to appreciation, not criticism. And if you've made a mistake, admit it immediately. Don't wait for someone to point it out. When you admit your faults quickly, you disarm the other person's anger. They can't attack you when you're already acknowledging the problem. Everyone you meet wants to feel important. The simplest way to make someone feel important is to give genuine appreciation. Notice what they do well and acknowledge it. But here's the critical part. It has to be sincere. People can detect fake flattery immediately. Here's what you should do. When you interact with someone, focus completely on them for a moment. Find something genuinely good about what they're doing or who they are. Then tell them specifically what you appreciate. Not generic praise, but specific recognition. Another powerful technique is remembering names. Your name is the most important word to you. When someone remembers your name, you feel valued. When they forget it, you feel dismissed. So when you meet someone, pay attention when they say their name. Repeat it back immediately. Use it during the conversation. This small effort creates a significant connection. Also, learn to listen more than you talk. Most people are waiting for their turn to speak instead of actually listening. When you give someone your full attention, you're telling them they matter. That's a rare gift. When you need to change someone's mind, arguing doesn't work. You could win the argument and still lose because the other person will resent you. Their pride is hurt, and they'll dig deeper into their original position. The solution is simple. Avoid arguments completely. When you feel an argument starting, stop. Listen to what the other person is saying without interrupting. Look for points where you agree. This reduces their defensiveness immediately. Never tell someone they're wrong. Even if they are objectively incorrect, saying you're wrong triggers an emotional response. They'll defend their position regardless of the facts. Instead, respect their opinion even when you disagree with it. If you realize you're wrong about something, admit it before the other person points it out. This completely changes the dynamic. They can't criticize you when you're already criticizing yourself. In fact, they'll often become generous and minimize your mistakes. When you want someone to see your perspective, don't force your conclusion on them. Ask questions instead. Get them to arrive at the conclusion themselves. People believe their own ideas more than yours, even if the ideas are identical. Start with questions they'll answer yes to. Build agreement gradually. Don't begin by highlighting where you disagree. Begin with common ground. This creates momentum toward agreement. And here's something crucial. Try to genuinely see things from their perspective. What are their concerns? What do they want? When you understand their viewpoint, you can address it directly instead of talking past each other. When you need someone to change their behavior, start with genuine praise. Point out what they're doing right before you mention what needs improvement. This makes people receptive instead of defensive. If you need to correct someone, do it indirectly. People already know when they've made mistakes. Pointing it out directly just creates resistance. Instead, acknowledge the good work first, then suggest what could make it even better. Before you criticize anyone, talk about your own mistakes first. When you admit your imperfections, you show that mistakes are normal and the task is difficult. This makes the other person more willing to improve. If you find this video useful, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, and have a great day.